Maintenant, j'ai quelques défis pour vous. Notez-les. Je vais les passer en revue très rapidement maintenant. Vous allez devoir écrire rapidement maintenant. Voici le numéro 1. Examinez vos performances, qu'il s'agisse de communication ou d'une activité ou du fait d'être PDG ou d'un travail. Voilà ce que mon père disait d'un séminaire en une phrase. J'aimerais qu'il soit là pour le donner, mais comme il n'est pas là, en son honneur, je vais donner ici son séminaire en une phrase. C'est toujours faire plus que ce pour quoi vous êtes payé. Pour faire un investissement dans votre avenir. Maintenant, certains syndicats nous contrediront sur ce point. C'est le séminaire de mon père en une phrase. Toujours faire plus que ce pour quoi vous êtes payé. Pour investir dans votre avenir. Mon père était si unique. Papa disait que s'il pleut, on ne peut pas réparer le toit. S'il ne pleut pas, il n'y a pas besoin de le réparer. C'était un grand homme. Waouh, ce monsieur. Alors, examinez vos performances. Votre langage avec vos enfants. Passez en revue tout cela et dites-vous, ai-je été trop dur et trop fort, trop têtu? Devrais-je apprendre à être plus facile, à mélanger plus de compassion avec les choses difficiles que je dois gérer? Oui. Vous savez, la prière peut parfois aider. À défaut d'autre chose, tu sais, cher Dieu, aide-moi à dire la bonne chose et à ne pas tout gâcher par une mauvaise communication. Voici le prochain point de ma liste. Affrontez vos peurs. Vous savez, je ne sais pas quel défi vous pourriez rencontrer en revoyant les choses que nous avons abordées en termes de modification de votre philosophie ou en revenant en arrière, et vous savez, en refaisant certaines choses que vous pourriez avoir gâchées. Mais fais face à toutes tes peurs, c'est comme ça que tu les vains. Ne les rejette pas, fais-leur face. Dites, voici ce dont j'ai peur, je me demande ce que je pourrais faire pour changer ça. Voici la prochaine étape, exercez votre volonté. Pour changer de direction, vous n'êtes pas obligé de continuer à faire ce que vous avez fait pendant les 6 dernières années si cela ne vous apporte pas les bénéfices que vous souhaitez. Au séminaire, je le fais pour Jerry. Mon mentor m'a aidé à faire le bilan des 6 dernières années pour ne pas répéter ses erreurs dans les 6 prochaines. Vous voyez, si vous êtes une oie, vous n'avez pas le choix de faire les 6 prochaines années comme vous avez fait les 6 dernières. Mais si vous n'êtes pas une oie, voici ce que vous pouvez faire. Choisissez une nouvelle destination et commencez à aller dans cette direction. Vous vous dites, j'ai fait ça ces 2 dernières années, je vais probablement devoir le faire encore 2 ans. La réponse est non, pas avant 1 million d'années. Maintenant, vous pouvez changer un petit degré à la fois, ou si vous le voulez, vous pouvez tout révolutionner. Qui a dit que vous ne pouvez pas tout révolutionner en une semaine et commencer une toute nouvelle direction qui vous aidera très certainement à arriver dans un tout nouvel endroit, dans 1 an, dans 3 ans? Non, on ne peut pas dire dans 5 ans à quel endroit vous pourriez arriver. Utilisez votre volonté pour lancer le processus. Juste la volonté de changer un peu ou de changer beaucoup. Tout le monde peut changer. Vous n'avez pas besoin de répéter l'année dernière. Nettoyez les erreurs. Investissez maintenant dans l'année suivante et regardez la différence. Voici le prochain, c'est important, et les parents doivent le faire. Nous demandons à nos enfants de le faire, mais nous devons le faire. Admettez vos erreurs. Parfois, il faut les admettre aux autres. Voici quelques-uns des meilleurs mots de la langue anglaise. Je suis désolé, I'm sorry. La raison pour laquelle ce sont de bons mots, c'est que ça peut démarrer une toute nouvelle relation. Ça peut faire prendre à 2 personnes une toute nouvelle direction. Je suis désolé. Simple, facile, pas facile. Mais si vous le faites, le retournement de situation peut être spectaculaire et les premières années peuvent être très payantes. Et voici le plus important, admettez vos erreurs à vous-même. Vous n'avez pas besoin d'en parler à tout le monde dans le voisinage. Mais ça ne fait pas de mal de s'asseoir et d'avoir une conversation avec soi-même et de dire « Inutile de me faire des illusions. Voilà où j'en suis vraiment. J'ai des sous dans ma poche et rien à la banque. » C'est ce que j'ai dit après que l'éclaireuse ait quitté ma porte. J'ai eu une conversation avec moi-même. Et j'ai dit que je ne voulais plus que ça arrive. Suivant, affinez vos objectifs. Je ne sais pas quelles ambitions vous avez eues jusqu'à présent, mais ce week-end serait un bon moment pour commencer le processus. Nous allons parler de notre atelier sur les objectifs avant la fin de notre session ce week-end. Peut-être que cela vous aidera à vous stimuler pour fixer des objectifs plus élevés, atteindre un but plus élevé, aller au-delà de ce que vous pensiez pouvoir faire. Mais d'ici la fin du week-end, vous pourriez doubler, tripler ou quadrupler le nombre d'objectifs, de buts et toutes les choses que vous pensez pouvoir accomplir. Vous pourriez les multiplier par 10 d'ici la fin de notre séance dimanche. Voici le suivant, croyez en vous. Oui, vous devez croire en Dieu, et vous devez croire en la communauté, et vous devez croire aux possibilités, vous devez croire en l'économie, vous devez croire que demain peut être meilleur qu'aujourd'hui. Mais voici le plus important, croyez en vous. Il n'y a pas de compétences que vous ne puissiez apprendre, il n'y a pas de discipline que vous ne puissiez essayer, il n'y a pas de cours que vous ne puissiez suivre, il n'y a pas de livre que vous ne puissiez lire. S'il est écrit dans une autre langue, il suffit de le faire traduire et de le lire. Voici le suivant, demandez la sagesse. C'est la communication de la source la plus élevée. Demandez la sagesse. Demandez la sagesse qui crée des réponses. Demandez la sagesse qui crée la foi pour croire que les choses sont possibles. Au temps du roi Salomon, il y avait le dilemme de deux mères qui réclamaient le même bébé. Et la question était, à qui appartient ce bébé? Cette mère dit que c'est le mien. L'autre mère dit non, c'est le mien. Salomon a dit, apportez-moi le bébé. Ils ont apporté le bébé et il a levé l'épée. Il a dit que je vais couper ce bébé en deux et donner une moitié à cette mère et une moitié à cette mère. Et alors qu'il levait son épée, la vraie mère a dit en sanglotant, non, 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 ne coupez pas le bébé en deux. Donnez-le à celle qui n'était pas la vraie mère. Salomon dit, maintenant, je sais qui est la vraie mère. Vous voyez, c'est si sage. Et le moment était si dramatique. Mais Salomon, le plus sage des sages, savait quoi faire pour régler l'affaire. Demandez la sagesse pour faire face aux défis d'aujourd'hui et de demain, pour faire face aux défis que votre famille vous apporte. Ne souhaitez pas que ce soit plus facile, mais que vous soyez meilleur. Voici le point suivant, conservez votre temps. Je dois apprendre à le faire. Combien de temps me reste-t-il? Pas une réserve illimitée. Combien de ces week-ends puis-je faire? Pas un millier. Juste quelques-uns, peut-être une poignée. Parfois on se fait avoir. Bill Bailey dit, la personne moyenne dit qu'il me reste 20 ans à vivre. Non, Bill dit, vous avez 20 fois plus de temps. Si vous allez pêcher une fois par an, vous n'avez plus que 20 fois pour aller pêcher, pas 20 ans. C'est de la supercherie, j'ai 20 ans. Non, 20 fois. Tu vois, ça ramène à la réalité. 20 fois. Combien d'autres séminaires comme celui-ci? Pas un millier, quelques-uns, juste quelques-uns. Alors, est-ce que je marmonnerai et trébucherai? Est-ce que je vous donnerai moins que le meilleur de moi-même alors qu'il ne me reste plus que quelques séminaires à donner? La réponse est non, bien sûr que non. Si vous êtes une personne digne et de qualité, vous ne laisseriez pas cela se produire. Ensuite, investissez vos bénéfices. Nous allons en parler maintenant avant la fin du week-end, sur l'indépendance financière. Et je vais vous donner d'excellents conseils. Voici l'une des philosophies que M. Schoff m'a donnée, avec Mary Kay. Voici ce qu'il a dit. Les profits sont meilleurs que les salaires. Les salaires vous font vivre. Les profits vous font faire fortune. Mary Kay et moi sommes allés jusqu'au bout. Waouh! Pourrions-nous commencer à faire des profits tout en gagnant notre vie? La réponse est oui. Je suis devenu fou. En voici un autre point maintenant. Protégez votre famille. Les temps sont durs, même s'ils l'ont été pendant 6000 ans. À l'école, les temps sont durs. Je connais une merveilleuse mère et un merveilleux père qui ont eu 2 garçons. À l'école, ils ont pris 2 directions différentes. L'un est devenu un citoyen modèle et l'autre est allé en prison. Waouh! Protégez votre famille du mieux que vous pouvez, contre les dangers cachés, contre les méchants qui rôdent. Voici le point suivant, vivez avec intensité. Vous pourriez aussi bien monter d'un cran ou 2 après ce week-end. Pourquoi pas? Investissez plus de vous dans tout ce que vous faites. Soyez un peu plus fort, un peu plus sage. Augmentez votre contribution à la vitalité. Mettez tout ce que vous avez dans tout ce que vous faites. Et puis demandez plus de vitalité, plus de force et plus de vigueur. Plus de cœur, plus d'âme. Suivant. Trouve ta place. Ce point est très important. Si tu ne fais qu'un travail, trouve la meilleure place où tu peux bien servir. Et bien sûr, on te demandera d'occuper une meilleure place. Et si vous continuez à bien faire le travail, le gars dit « Eh bien, si j'avais un meilleur travail, je m'y mettrais vraiment. Mais si j'ai ce boulot minable, alors je ne fais que glander. » Vous voyez, c'est la philosophie du désastre. Donc vous avez un travail minable, faites de votre mieux, c'est votre meilleur moyen de vous en sortir. Il ne s'agit pas de faire moins que ce que vous pourriez faire, mais de faire du mieux que vous pouvez. Avec cette philosophie, votre vie peut faire de grands bonds en avant. Voici une phrase biblique qui dit « Si tu travailles sur tes dons, ils te feront de la place. Ils te feront une place. » Voici le point suivant. Exigez l'intégrité de vous-même. Vous ne pouvez pas exiger l'intégrité de quelqu'un d'autre. L'intégrité est comme la loyauté. Vous ne pouvez pas l'exiger de quelqu'un d'autre. Vous ne pouvez l'exiger que de vous-même. Soyez le meilleur exemple de loyauté et vous aurez des adeptes fidèles. Soyez le meilleur exemple d'intégrité et vous serez entouré de personnes intègres. Ouvrez la voie. Ensuite, accueillez les disciplines. Je ne peux pas vous donner de meilleurs conseils que celui-là, car les disciplines créent la réalité. Les disciplines construisent des ponts, construisent des villes. Les disciplines. Une activité bien disciplinée crée l'abondance, crée l'unicité et la productivité. Ensuite, se battre pour ce qui est juste. C'est un combat dans lequel nous sommes engagés. Et le conteur dit qu'il y a eu une grande guerre dans le ciel. Waouh! Tu veux dire là-bas? Oui. Un tiers des anges ont conspiré. J'ai demandé à Bill Bailey, combien de temps penses-tu qu'il a fallu à un tiers de ces anges pour se réunir? Ont-ils organisé des réunions? Je ne sais pas. Bailey dit que le conteur ne le dit pas. J'ai dit, alors nous sommes censés utiliser notre imagination. Je ne sais pas. Il dit que, finalement, la grande guerre a eu lieu. Et les 2 tiers l'ont emporté, et le 1 tiers a perdu. L'un des auteurs des dernières écritures de la Bible, voici ce qu'il a dit. « J'ai combattu le bon combat. » Vous voyez, c'est extraordinaire de pouvoir dire « Je me suis battu pour mes enfants, et je me suis battu pour ce qui était juste, et je me suis battu pour ma bonne santé, et je me suis battu pour protéger mon entreprise, et je me suis battu pour une bonne carrière qui bénirait ma famille. J'ai combattu le bon combat. » C'est bon de se battre. L'empiètement. Les opposés sont en conflit, et nous sommes au milieu. Et si tu veux quelque chose de valable, tu dois te battre pour ça. Puis cet écrivain a aussi dit, non seulement j'ai combattu le bon combat, et je terminerai par ça. Et j'ai une liste beaucoup plus longue, mais peut-être que je pourrai la couvrir à un autre moment. Il a dit, j'ai combattu le bon combat, et j'ai gardé la foi. Vous voyez, c'est ça le truc. Gardez la foi avec votre famille. Battez-vous comme des fous et gardez la foi. Combattez l'ennemi et gardez la foi. Combattez la maladie et gardez la foi. Combattez le mal et gardez la foi. À présent, vous pouvez obtenir gratuitement notre nouveau guide des 5 étapes pour fixer et atteindre votre objectif le plus ambitieux à 100% coup sûr en cliquant sur le premier lien dans la description sous cette vidéo. Et si vous avez aimé cette vidéo, cliquez sur le bouton j'aime et abonnez-vous à la chaîne maintenant pour ne rien rater.
Gather new knowledge, make better decisions about what's valuable. And I'm telling you, if you'll do that, your whole life will change. Your health will change. Your relationship with your family will change. Your ability to cope with challenges and problems will change. I'm telling you, income, promotions, all of it will change. If you will change, it'll all change. If you won't change, it isn't going to change. You can keep your fingers crossed if you want to and hope they'll straighten it out. You can wish for the wind not to blow quite as severe, but I'm telling you, wishing for the wind to change in your favor, we call naive at best. Don't do this any longer. Wish for a better wind. The key is to wish for the wisdom to set a better sail. Utilize whatever wind it blows to take you wherever you want to go. That is the philosophy I picked up at age 25, and it revolutionized my whole life.
My mentor said, Mr. Rohn, you've been working 6 years. How are you doing? I said, not very well. He said, I suggest you not do that anymore. He said, couldn't we go over the last 6 years and find out where your errors in judgment were? And couldn't we correct those and invest that correction in the next 6 years? I said, I guess we could. That's how I went from pennies to forks. Incredible. Only humans can do this. See, if you were a tree, you'd be stuck. Right? If you used up all the nourishment around you, couldn't move, then you would die. But that's not true. So, however much you want to change, that's up to you. But see, if there's a class and you don't take it, and a skill and you don't learn it, and a discipline and you don't try it, and if there's a possibility and you don't explore it, then who are we going to blame? Nobody but yourself. You know, we put some of the valuable things on the high shelf, so you can't get to them until you qualify. If you want the things on the higher shelf, you've got to stand on the books you read. Every book you read, you get to stand a little higher so you can get the things on the higher shelf.
Become a good reader. All of the successful people I know and work with around the world, they're all good readers. Curiosity drives them to read. They got to know. They just read. Did you know there's books on how to be stronger, more decisive, be a speaker, be a leader, have a better effect on other people, develop your personality? Did you know there's books on that? And people don't read them? How would you explain that? And they can read. Did you know that hundreds of successful people have written their stories in books and they wrote down how they did it and people don't read it? How would you explain that? The guy's busy, I guess. You know, you get tied up. The guy says, well, yeah, you work where I work, but the time you struggle home, it's late. You got to eat a bite of supper, watch a little TV, get to bed. You can't sit up half the night reading. And the guy's behind on his car payment. Good worker, hard worker, sincere. But you got to be better than sincere and work hard. Otherwise, at the end of your life, you'll wind up cold, stony broke. You got to be better than a good worker. You got to be a good reader. Now, you don't have to read or listen to educational cassettes half the night. Although if you're broke, it's a good place to start. But here is all I ask, just 30 minutes a day. That's all. Stretch it to an hour if you can, but at least 30 minutes. Hear or read something challenging, something instructional, at least 30 minutes a day. And here's the next key. Every day. Don't miss. Miss a meal, but not your 30 minutes. Hey, you can get along without some meals, but you can't get along without some ideas, examples, and inspiration. And also remember to properly feed the mind. You must have good balance. Don't just read or listen to the easy stuff. You can't live on mental candy. Mr. Shoaff got me started on my library when I first met him. He said to me, become self-educated. Standard education will get you standard results. Check those numbers and see if that's what you want. And if it isn't, if you want something better than standard, you must become self-educated. Shoaff recommended a couple of books in particular to get me started. Now, I had a Bible, that's 66 books, so that was a pretty good start. But the first book Mr. Shoaff told me to get was the book Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. If you don't already have it, it's a great one to add to your library. I read it several dozen times. Shoaff said repetition is the mother of skill. And if you could have seen my bank account at the time, you would have known I needed lots of that kind of repetition. Some of the ideas in that book made major changes in my life. As I look back now, the book was worth thousands, and I bought it for pennies. I learned a very valuable lesson. There can be a great deal of difference between cost and value. Before I met Mr. Shoaff, I used to ask, how much does it cost? After I met him, however, I soon learned to ask, how much is it worth? I started basing my life on worth instead of cost, and everything changed.
Here's the next one, attitude.
Attitude. It is our attitude toward life which will determine life's attitude toward us. Now let's talk about the attitudes of people who are successful. Successful people come in all shapes and sizes and in widely varying degrees of intelligence, background, and so on. But they all have one thing in common. They expect more good out of life than bad. They expect to succeed more than they fail. If you want something worthwhile, take the attitude that there are a lot more reasons why you can have it than there are that you cannot, and set out to earn it. Go after it, work at it, ask for it, and 9 times out of 10, you'll get it. Now, let me tell you of a little test you can make which will prove beyond any shadow of a doubt that a good attitude can change a person's life as dramatically as walking from a darkened room into the bright, clear light of day. So here's the test. For the next 30 days, act toward the world, everything and everyone with whom you come in contact, with the attitude which represents the kind of results you want to achieve. That is, if the result you want is more success in what you're doing, act as though you are already in possession of the success you seek. If you want others to treat you with admiration and respect, treat others with admiration and respect first. Have you ever stopped to think of this? Every human being on earth is the most important human being on earth as far as he or she is concerned. You may never get anyone to admit it, but it's a fact. So for the next 30 days, treat every person with whom you come in contact as the most important person on earth, remembering as you do so that as far as that person is concerned, he is. Now, the reason I say treat everyone in this fashion is mainly because this is the way human beings ought to treat each other, and because it will help you form a habit that will bring you amazing and delightful results for the rest of your life. Have you ever noticed that the higher you go in any organization of value, the nicer the people seem to become? You see, the bigger the person, the easier it is to talk to him, to get along with him, to do business with him. Do you know why? It's because he's got a good attitude, and people with the best attitudes just naturally gravitate toward the top. So for 30 days, act toward others and the world at large in exactly the same manner you want the world and others to act toward you. Treat your wife or husband as the person he or she really is, the most important person in your life, and the same with the children. Carry out into the world each morning for 30 days the kind of attitude you would have if you were the most successful human being on earth. And notice how it quickly develops into an habitual attitude. When a person does this, he should realize he has already placed himself on the road to what he seeks. He is right now in the top 5% of the people in this or any other country. He has prepared the ground and planted the seed. He has made of himself a magnet, an embodiment of that which he seeks. Before metal can be cast into a desired shape, the mold, the expectant receptacle, must first be fashioned. Before a building can be erected, the excavation must be made and the foundation laid. And before a person can achieve the kind of life he wants, he must become that kind of individual. He must think, act, talk, walk, and conduct himself in all of his affairs as would the person he wishes to become. He is then actually that person, and the things that person would have and do will naturally come to him. Almost immediately, a change will be noticed. Irritations that used to frustrate and annoy disappear. When some less informed individual gives you a bad time, stay on the track. When someone cuts in front of you with his car or acts in any other manner that shows his ignorance and lack of courtesy, don't permit yourself to drop to his level. Pity him, for that's what he really deserves. That's the very group a person doesn't want to belong to. And if he acts like them, well, let's face it, he belongs with them. There's nothing in the world that men, women, and children want and need more than the feeling that they're important, that they're needed and respected. They will give their love, their affection, their respect, and their business to the person who fills this need. So the magic word is attitude. And in summing up, a few points to keep in mind. 1, it is our attitude at the beginning of a task which, more than anything else, will affect its successful outcome. 2, it is our attitude toward life which determines life's attitude toward us. 3, we are interdependent. It is impossible to succeed without others. And it is our attitude toward others which will determine their attitude toward us. 4, before a person can achieve the kind of life he wants, he must become that kind of individual. He must think, act, talk, walk, and conduct himself in all of his affairs as would the person he wishes to become. 5, The higher you go in any organization of value, the better will be the attitudes you'll find. 6. Your mind can hold only one thought at a time, and since there's nothing at all to be gained by being negative, be positive. 7. The deepest craving of human beings is to be needed, to feel important, to be appreciated. Give it to them, and they'll return it to you. 8. Look for the best in new ideas. As someone said, I've never met a person I couldn't learn something from. 9. Don't waste valuable time broadcasting personal problems. It probably won't help you. It cannot help others. 10. Don't talk about your health unless it's good. 11. Radiate the attitude of well-being, of confidence, of a person who knows where he's going. This will inspire those around you, and you'll find good things will begin happening to you. And 12, lastly, for the next 30 days, treat everyone with whom you come in contact as the most important person on earth. If you'll do this for 30 days, you'll do it for the rest of your life.
Now here's the third of the 5 ideas, number 3, and it's called lifestyle. Because the essence of life is not a Ferrari or a bank account. It's not $1 million. Here's the essence of life. Learning to live a good life.
Don't just learn how to earn, learn how to live. Mr. Shoaff taught me lifestyle in those early days, starting with small amounts. He said, imagine that you're getting your shoes shined, and the shoe shine boy has done a fabulous job. So you pay him for the shine. Now you consider from the change in your hand what kind of tip to give him. And the question pops into your mind, shall I give him 1 quarter or 2 quarters for my neat shine? Mr. Shoaff said, if 2 amounts for a tip ever come to your mind, always go for the higher amount. I said, what difference would that make, 1 quarter or 2 quarters? He said, all the difference in the world. If you said, well, I'll just give him 1 quarter, that will affect you for the rest of the day. You will start feeling bad. Sure enough, in the middle of the day, you will look down at your great shoe shine and say, I've got to be cheap. 1 lousy quarter. That will affect you. However, if you go for 2 quarters, Shoaff said you can't believe the feeling you can buy for another quarter. That's lifestyle. So develop your lifestyle a little more. Your style of seeing, giving, sharing, enjoying. It's not the amount that counts, but the experience of choosing to live with style. I remember saying to Mr. Shoaff one time, if I had more money, I would be happy. And he gave me some of the better words of wisdom when he said to me, Mr. Rohn, the key to happiness is not more. Happiness is an art to be studied and practiced. He said, more money will only make you more of what you already are. If you're inclined to be unhappy, if you get a lot of money, you will be miserable. More money will only make you more. More money will only amplify. If you're inclined to be mean and you get a lot of money, you will be a terror. If you're inclined to drink a little too much, when you get a lot of money, you can now become a drunk because you can drink everything. So style is not more. Style is an art. Here's something else to think about. Did you ever hear where the expression tip came from? As in tipping the waiter or waitress in a restaurant. Mr. Shoaff taught me that it began as a symbol for the phrase, to ensure promptness. Now, Shoaff said, if a tip is to ensure promptness, when should you give it? Answer, up front. See, I didn't know that. I said, no, you have lunch, and if you get good service, you leave a good tip. If you get lousy service, no tip. And he said to me, no, Mr. Rohn. Sophisticated people don't take a chance on good service. They ensure good service by giving the money up front. I said, wow, what a way to live. I had never thought of that. So the next time you have someone special to take to lunch, call the waitress over, arm around the shoulders and say, here's $5. Would you take good care of me and my friend? Shoaff said you won't believe what happens. They do what's known as hover. They hover around your table. Same money, different style.
The next one is activity.
Now here's an important question. What is your philosophy about activity? What about hard work?
What about long hours? What about full days? If you're doing something, how hard should you go at it? How much time should you put in? Everybody has to develop their philosophy about activity, because your philosophy of activity will affect the rest of your life. Not to think so is naive. I've got a good clue on rest. Make rest a necessity, not an objective. If you rest too long, the weeds take the garden in the summer. So you can't rest too long. Life doesn't stand still. And the threat of life will start overwhelming the values of life if you just let it go. So we've all got to have a philosophy about activity. Let me give you one of the best I know. Here's what it says. An ancient phrase says, whatever your hands find to do it with all your might. That's a philosophy. You say, well, I'm getting by with half my might. Well, okay, but you've got to decide on your own personal philosophy of activity. Now, this philosophy says, do it with all your might. Do you think there's any value or virtue in that? But all you can become. See what all you can do. See how much you can earn, how much you can share, how much you can start, how far you can reach, how far you can extend your influence. Now, here's number 5. Measure progress. Because if you're going to play the great drama game of life, the key is to keep measuring progress to see how you're doing. How's your health doing? How's your income doing? How are your investments doing? If you're building a house, how is it coming along? What's going on? Measuring progress. That's what we call the name of the game. Here's how we teach it to our children. You must make measurable progress in reasonable time. Now, we must be reasonable with time. You can't say to someone every 5 minutes, how are you doing now? 5 minutes later, how are you doing now? This guy says, I haven't left the building yet. Give me a break. So 5 minutes to ask for a count or a measure is too soon. 5 years is too long, too late. Too many things can go wrong. The old prophet said, if you're angry, try to solve it before the sun goes down. Don't carry it over for another day. Tomorrow it might be too heavy to carry. A conversation a father should have with his daughter today, because the magic is there. If he waits till tomorrow, the magic could be gone. Success is a numbers game. How many years do you want your child to spend in 4th grade? About what? One grade, 1 year. Progress, 1 grade, 1 year. And you've got to set up your own measuring system. Don't wait for somebody else to do it. You set it up. Because society doesn't require you not have a heart attack. That you must require of yourself. Society doesn't demand that you build a financial wall around your family nothing can get through. That you must demand of yourself. So the government's not there to measure. Society's not there to measure. You must be responsible enough to measure yourself. How are you coming on this financial wall around your family? Nothing can get through. How are you doing? And whether it's a few pounds to lose, or whether it's a financial wall, or whether it's a growing office, whatever it is, find some ways to measure so you don't become disillusioned, thinking, oh, it looks okay, when it really isn't okay. Measure, check. Measure, check. It's the game. You've really got to get serious. You don't have to be grim, but you must be serious. I know a guy that's got a half a dozen jokes keeping him from becoming wealthy. He's not known as rich. He's known as a joker, which I guess is okay if that's the kind of life you want to live. But it really isn't the best way to live. To go from average to fortune, you must get serious. And you must get serious about 2 very important things. Number 1 is setting your goals and where you want to go. Designing the next 5, the next 10 years is so vitally important. What do you want to do economically? Where do you want to go? What do you want to be? What would you like to have? What would you like to share? How much would you like to earn? How far would you like to go? Those are some major questions to ask. And for that all to work out like you want it to for the next 5 or 10 years, in my personal opinion, you've got to get serious. Then you have to get serious about another important subject. And that important subject is called personal development. Personal development is striving hard to become the kind of person that you want to be. And to become the kind of person you want to be, you've got to work at it. 10 years from now, you will surely become someone. The big question is, Who? What are you becoming? And if you go to work on it now, sure enough, in a very short period of time, you can take on a new direction to become the kind of person you want to be. There's a very important question to ask, and the question is, 10 years from now, you will surely arrive. And the question is, where? So to answer the question of where you want to arrive and the kind of person you want to be, you've got to get serious. So that's point number one. To make your life worthwhile and unique, to go from average to fortune, you've got to get serious. Now, the second point is, get smart. To make your life work out worthwhile, you've got to have some ideas. You've got to have the information. So you've got to be smart. In fact, in this decade, you must be much smarter than you were in the last decade. You've got to read the books. You've got to come up with the information. When I have a chance to talk to the high school kids, that's the theme of my talk. Get smart. There's nothing worse than being stupid. And if you will read the books, learn from your experiences, do all the things that you possibly can to get the information, sure enough, you'll be wiser this year than you were last year. And I've got a few techniques that I teach in my seminar on how to get smarter, keeping a journal, going to the lectures, going to the seminars, listening to the sermons, picking up ideas from other people. You just must keep up this steady process of learning. Never cease your quest for knowledge. And that's one of the key points to go from average to fortune. Get smart. Now here's number three. You've got to get going. All of the things that you've learned will not do you that much good if you don't put it into an action plan. You've got to get going. In my management and leadership seminar, we teach game plans, how to put all the good things that you've learned into action. Economic action, social action, personal action. How to make the changes and how to actually do the work, how to actually function. Get going, that's the key. Some people are ever learning, but they don't put it into action. They don't really take the action. It's like the man who keeps bringing materials to the building site and never builds anything. He keeps bringing in the sand and the gravel and the windows and the doors and the roofing material, and he just stacks up all these supplies, but he never builds anything. See, if you do that long enough, fairly soon they'll come and take you away. You've got to do something with what you've learned. You've got to take action. You've got to get going. So that's one of the most important things to learn, how to design your days, how to design your weeks, how to design the months, so that you take the proper action to get the proper return that you're looking for, whether it's economic or personal. Get going. It's a major key. Now here's number four. You must get excited. And not just the false enthusiasm of just pure positive thinking. You've got to get excited over some very basic things. One is, get excited over your ability to make yourself do the necessary things. Because discipline is major step one toward personal progress. And anytime a person wishes to, they can make major changes in their life, personally and socially and financially. It doesn't ever have to be the same after today. No telling what you could do today if you really wish to. The act of murder is a clear indication that a person in one drastic act can forever change the course of their life. It just happens to be in the negative direction. What I would ask you to do, starting today, is get excited about committing an act that's positive, an act that's constructive, to make the changes in your life that you want made, and to go the direction that you want to go. So that's number four, get excited. Get excited about your potential. Human capacity is usually never the problem. Little children can learn several languages. We can learn to do the most incredible things. All we need to do is take the time to do it. So it's not a matter of capacity. It's a matter of judgment. It's a matter of excitement. It's a matter of will. And it's a matter of wanting to bad enough. So it's pretty exciting to know that any day you wish, you can change your life. Any day you pick out, you can make major changes. It doesn't ever have to be the same again. And that's exciting. Knowing that intellectually and personally, you can actually do the things that will make major changes in your life. That's number four. Here's number five. Number five is get away. I have found, especially in the last 15, 20 years, that there's an important thing called life balance. You've got to learn to get away. You must learn to get away and be alone. learn to get away and reflect. Learn to get away and learn how to live as well as how to earn. How sad it would be to learn how to earn well but not learn how to live well. You must balance your life. We teach something, especially in my staff, I teach something called lifestyle. Lifestyle is how you learn to live your life. Some people have money, but they don't even know how to spend it. They have time, but they don't know how to spend it. Some people are successful, but they don't know how to spend their success. They don't know what to do with it. They don't get joy from it. Rather, they get animosity. A father takes $5, crushes it, and throws it at his son and says, if you need it that bad, take it. Now it's the... Pick up a piece of trash and throw it in the receptacle. If everybody did that, what a better world it would be. A little contribution that cost nothing. I finally learned how simple it was to turn out the lights before I left my hotel room, to make a contribution. How much time does it take? A fraction of a second. Saves a little more electricity. What if everybody did it? Maybe the cost of a room might come down. If everybody contributed, everybody said, well, the hotel's going to benefit. Here's the answer to that. What difference does it make? What difference does it make if it's easy for you to make a contribution if you don't make it? Say, no, I leave all the lights on, it's the hotel, not me anyway. Then you have the wrong attitude. The attitude is, if it's easy for me to conserve, if it's easy for me to do something that becomes my daily and yearly and life routine, what it does for my psyche, what it does for my self-esteem, even though it's quiet self-esteem, it's not publicized, it's not something you're recognized for, in front of an audience of 10,000, but it's something that you recognize. Here's the kind of person I am, whether anyone ever sees it or not. Here's the things I do that helps to accelerate my own self-esteem. I don't need public recognition. I don't need a pin for it. I don't need a Congressional Medal of Honor. I have enough dignity to give myself honor for the things I do that make a contribution, whether anyone else does it or not. Now, it's easy to say, well, no one. Turns out the lights say, no one but me. I'm one of those rare individuals. And that doesn't have to be publicly recognized. Just so in your heart and soul, you know you are one of those rare individuals that does these little things. So we're affected by the environment. Next, we're affected by events. Some small, some big, some personal, some national, some global. The hurricane. What's the name? Dennis. Heading for the east coast of America. Looks like it might turn and go north. But events affect us all. How about the missile crisis? Some of us go back that far, right? Some of you got gray hair like me. Russia tries to sneak their missiles into Cuba. Kennedy finds out about it and calls and says, Nikita, John Kennedy on it. You can't put your missiles in Cuba. Nikita Khrushchev said, Mr. President, you're young at this game. This is Nikita Khrushchev. This is Russia you're talking to. We can put our missiles wherever we darn well please. Wow, that started it. Next call. Mr. Khrushchev, sir. Not in Cuba. 90 miles from America. Khrushchev says, well, Mr. Kennedy, sir, I promise you, if it is war, Russia will cease to exist. There won't be any more Russia. Last call. And Nikita decided he better take his missiles and go back home. And the world breathed a little easier. Right? Those kind of events affect us all. But there's small events and daily events, and family events, and national events, and community events. We're all affected by the events. Here's number 3. We're affected by knowledge. Whatever we know or don't know. Good phrase to jot down if you haven't done it before in one of my seminars. Ignorance is not bliss. Ignorance is tragedy. Ignorance is devastation. Ignorance creates lack. Ignorance creates disease. Ignorance will shorten your life. Ignorance will empty your life, leave you with the husks, nothing to account for. Ignorance. Ignorance is not bliss. Here's another good one to note. What you don't know will hurt you. What you don't know will tragically affect your life. What you don't know will leave your life empty. What you don't know will leave you without a love affair or a relationship. What you don't know. So, we're all affected by knowledge, whether we know or whether we don't know. That's why you've got to read the books. Key phrase, the book you don't read won't help. Next, we're affected by results. Whatever results you're currently getting, the harvest of your own decisions, those are your current results. We're affected by those, whether it's financial results or personal results or social results. We're all affected by results. Disciplines undone in the future give us poor results. Discipline managed well gives us good results. Here's number 5, we're affected by our dreams, our vision of the future. Next key, you want to now start really designing the future so that the greatest part of your strong dreams and goals pull you through a disaster. Some people get swallowed by the disaster because they have nothing on the other side of the disaster to pull them through. A bad day.
Instead of just earning a living, the smaller group is busily working at building and enjoying a fortune. Everything just seems to work out for them. And here sits the much larger group, wondering in awe on how life can be so unfair, complicated, and unjust. So what's the major difference between the little group with so much and the larger group with so little? Despite all the factors that affect our lives, like the kind of parents we have, the schools we attended, the part of the country we grew up in, none has as much potential power for doing good as the ability to dream. Dreams are a projection of the kind of life we want to lead. Dreams can drive you. Dreams can make you skip over obstacles. When we allow our dreams to pull us, they unleash a creative force that can overpower everything in our way. To unleash this power, though, your dreams must be well defined. A fuzzy future has little pull power. Well-defined dreams are not fuzzy. Wishes are fuzzy. To really achieve your dreams, to really have your future plans pull you, your dreams must be vivid. If you've ever hiked a 14,000-foot peak in the Rocky Mountains, one thought has surely come to mind. How did the settlers of this country do it? How did they get from the East Coast to the West Coast? By foot. Carrying one day's supply of food and water is hard enough. Can you imagine hauling all of your worldly goods with you? Mile after mile, day after day, month after month? These people had dreams, big ones. They had ambition. They didn't focus on the hardship of getting up the mountain. In their minds, they were already on the other side. Their bodies just hadn't gotten them there yet. Despite all of their pains and struggles, births and deaths along the way, those who made it to the other side had a single vision: to reach the land of continuous sunshine and extraordinary wealth. To start over where anything was possible, where everything was possible. Their dreams were stronger than the obstacles in their way. You've got to be a dreamer. You've got to see the future finished in advance. You've got to see California while you're climbing 14,000-foot peaks. You've got to see the finish line while you're running the race. You've got to hear the cheers when you're in the middle of a monster project. And you've got to be willing to put yourself through the paces of doing the uncomfortable until it becomes comfortable. Because that's how you realize your dreams. Dreams are what caused thousands of people to leave their homes and families and start over in a land where anything was possible. Don't you sometimes wonder why so many immigrants who come to America can build a new life and a fortune while many of the people who were born here are barely surviving? They have a dream, a defined goal.
Allow yourself to dream. Allow yourself to imagine and fantasize about the kind of life you would like to live and the kind of money you would like to earn and have in your bank account. All great men and women begin with a dream of something wonderful and different from what they have today. You know the song that says, "You have to have a dream if you want to make a dream come true." Imagine for a moment that you have no limitations on what you can be, have, or do in life. Just for the moment, imagine that you have all the time, all the money, all the education, all the experience, all the friends, all the contacts, all the resources, and everything you need to achieve anything you really want in life. If your potential was completely unlimited, what kind of a life would you want to create for yourself and your family? Create a vision for yourself for the long-term future. The more clear you can make your vision of health, happiness, and prosperity, the faster you move toward it and the faster it moves toward you. When you create a clear mental picture of where you are going in life, you become more positive, more motivated, and more determined to make it a reality. You trigger your natural creativity and you start to come up with idea after idea to help make your vision come true. There is something about dreams and visions of the future that is exciting and that stimulates you to do and be better than you've ever been before. Success secret number 2, develop a clear sense of direction.
And the reason is because a man's life is not going to
Point in your life, someone is standing there to either help you or hinder you. Successful people make a habit of building and maintaining a network of high-quality relationships throughout their lives, and as a result, they accomplish vastly more than the average person who goes home and watches television each night. Everything is relationships. Virtually all of your problems in life will come as the result of your entering into wrong relationships with the wrong people.
All must understand the story of the frog and the scorpion. According to the story of the frog and the scorpion, the story scenario says, the frog and the scorpion appeared on the bank of a river about the same time, and the frog was about to jump in the river and swim to the other side. And along comes the scorpion, and he sees what's about to happen, and he engages the frog in conversation, and the scorpion says to the frog, Mr. Frog, I see that you're about to jump in the river and swim to the other side. And the frog said to the scorpion, that is correct. And the scorpion said, hey, hold it. I would like to get to the other side, but unfortunately I'm a scorpion and I can't swim. Would you be so kind as to let me hop on your back and you swim across the river and deposit me on the other side? I would be grateful. And the frog looked at the scorpion and said, no way. The frog said, you're a scorpion, and scorpions sting frogs and kill them. He said, I'd get out there halfway with you on my back and you'd sting me, and I'd die. You think I'm crazy? No way. The scorpion said, hey, hold it. With your frog brain, you're not thinking. If I was to sting you out there halfway, sure, you'd die and drown, but so would I, since I'm a scorpion and I can't swim. That'd be kind of foolish. So I'm not about to do that. I just want to get to the other side. The frog thought over that reasoning and said, that makes sense, hop on. And according to the story, the scorpion hops on the frog's back, they start across the river, and sure enough, halfway across the river, the scorpion stings the frog. The frog cannot believe what happened. And he said to the scorpion, why did you do that? I'm about to die and drown, but so are you. Why would you do that? And the scorpion said, because I am a scorpion. There are shepherds, and there are sheep, and there are wolves. And wise people must understand some wolves are so clever, they've learned to dress up like sheep.
Success secret number 5, be decisive and action-oriented. One of the marks of self-made millionaires is that they think carefully and then they make decisions quickly. They discipline themselves to take action and to carry out the decisions they have made. They move fast, and they get quick feedback from their actions. If they find they've made a mistake, they quickly self-correct and try something else. The key to triumph is for you to try. Successful people are decisive, and they try far more things than the average person. By the law of probabilities, the law of averages, if you try far more different ways to be successful, the odds are that you will find the right way for you at the right time. Unsuccessful people, on the other hand, are indecisive. They know that they should do or stop doing certain things, but they don't have the character or the willpower to make firm decisions. As a result, they drift through life, never happy, never fulfilled, never particularly successful. They never become wealthy or achieve financial independence. They end up settling for far less than is truly possible for them.
Indecision is one of the greatest thieves of opportunity. Indecision will steal you blind. Indecision will rob your bank account. After a while, it can become a disease. Indecision can become a disease. And pretty soon the guy knows he's got the disease. He says, well, I know I'm on the fence. But he says, what if I get off on the wrong side? Listen, here's the tragedy with sitting on the fence. While you sit on the fence, the clock keeps ticking. And see, a man's life is used up at the tick of the clock. Make the minutes count. Make the hours count. That's why you should learn to make decisions as quickly as possible. See, after a while, just get off the fence. It doesn't really matter what side. Just get off. Right? Because remember, a life full of adventure in achievement is a life full of many decisions. The ones that turn out to be wrong give you better experience to make better decisions. So remember, don't see how many decisions you can get out of. See how many you can get into. Learn to speed up the decision-making process. It will add years to your life.
But when you become decisive, you shift your entire life into high gear. You get far more done in a day than the average person. Ask yourself this: what one action, if I did it immediately, could have the greatest positive impact on my results? Whatever your answer is to that question at any time, just do it. Success secret number 6. Develop a workaholic mentality. All self-made millionaires work hard, hard, hard. Practice the 40-plus formula. This formula says that you work 40 hours per week for survival. Everything over 40 hours is for success. If you only work 40 hours, and the average work week today is closer to 35 hours, all you will ever do is survive. You'll never get ahead. You'll never be a big financial success. You'll never be highly respected and esteemed by your colleagues. You will always be mediocre if you just work the basic 40-hour week. But every hour over 40 is an investment in your future. In fact, you can tell where you're going to be in 5 years by looking at how many hours over 40 you put in every week. Always go the extra mile. Remember, there are never any traffic jams on the extra mile. Success secret number 7. Dedicate yourself to serving others.
Somebody says, well, I can't be concerned about other people. I have to pay attention to myself. Well, then you'll always have to. Somebody says, I can't be concerned about other people's bills. I've got enough worries trying to pay my own. Well, then you'll have to worry about them for the rest of your life. The best way to get that monkey off your back is to turn your attention around. It says, don't keep your attention on yourself if you want your life to work out well. Turn your attention to others. If you wish to receive, you must give. Some people say, if you give, it's gone. No, no. Not if you're educated. If you're stupid, yes, it's gone. But if you're enlightened, chances are, if you give, you've invested. And what do we expect an investment to do? Return. Get back what you put out? No. We expect it to return multiplied. My father taught me way back, son, always do more than what you get paid for. Now, some individuals might argue with that. They'd say, no, you're going to mess up the whole program. I know they're wrong. I did what my father taught me, to always do more than I got paid for. Why? To make an investment in my future. If you're wanting that big promotion, are you going to go up to your boss and say, just give it to me? I'll work harder if you just give me that promotion. No, it doesn't work that way. You've got to do more in your current position so that you get noticed, so you stand out from everybody else. So the boss says, hey, We've got this position opening up, and I think we should give it to Nancy. She does so much more than we expect. Just imagine what she'll do if we give her this promotion. You've got to do more than you're paid for. You've got to. It's an investment in your future. It's one thing to make a sale. I'm telling you, if you make a sale, you'll make a living. If you go beyond making the sale and serve people by keeping in touch, calling them before they call you, writing a thank you note, sales will lead to multiple sales. You can make a fortune if the customer is well taken care of. People who are well taken care of will open doors you can't get through by yourself. All of us have found ways to make a living. What got interesting for me early on was to figure out ways to make a fortune. You'd say, well, Mr. Rohn, how would I deserve to make a fortune? It's easy. Render fortunes of service. People will do things you cannot believe for people who give them good service. Here's one of the greatest gifts you can give anybody, the gift of attention. In return, they will do extraordinary things for your career, take you by the hand, and lead you to more people than you could meet by yourself. Always do more than you get paid for. Once I understood some of this stuff, I'm telling you, it revolutionized my whole life.
I was thinking you, dreams come true, eyes so bright with glee, you and me we see. Cotton candy clouds above, whispers of first love, holding hands so tight, forever feels just right. Sugar rush.